It says if a speaker would like a board member.
If you'd like a board member to bring it down.
Wow. I'm going to call this meeting to order. If you would follow along with the pledge and an invocation from Ted Martin.
Good evening, Board. Please join me in prayer. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, thank you for another beautiful day in the Ozarks. Tonight, we invite you into these chambers as we do the business of the city and work through agenda items and contracts and the work that you've set before us. And we pray that all that we do will be honoring and glorifying to you. Father, thanks for those in attendance tonight, to our board that gives time to lead, to our community members that are here to support our city and to help us grow and go. Father, we thank you for the many blessings you've given us as a city, for your love and forgiveness. And also we just thank you for tonight as we have a huge group of veterans present that we honor and celebrate them each and every day here in Branson, Missouri. Father, we love you in Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Ted. Madam Clerk, we get a roll call, please.
Lucas? I don't think he's on. Denham?
Here.
Cooper?
Here.
Milton?
Yep.
Howden? Alderman Howden, can you hear us? LeBlanc?
Here.
Schultz?
Here.
Your Honor, we have a quorum. Alderman Howden is on, but I think he's having a connection problem, so we'll record him in the minutes a little bit later, but you do have a quorum.
Thank you. We're going to start off tonight with some awards. So, Directory Hillary Bryant. I'm just reading. We'll present Lynn Powell of the City Clerk Department as Employee Month, May 2024.
Lynn Powell, come on down. Front and center. Yes. While she's making her way, I'm going to start. So on behalf of the Mayor, Board of Aldermen, City Administrator, and City staff, it is my honor to announce Records Specialist Lynn Powell as the City of Branson's May 2024 Service and Excellence Employee of the Month. Lynn was nominated for her remarkable work ethic, exceptional performance, and consistently positive attitude. Her knowledge in many areas of the city's inner workings has also proven to be invaluable. Lynn recently volunteered to take over duties in another department to help cover a coworker's maternity leave. While doing the extra duties, Lynn consistently kept up with the work in her current position, as well as maintained accuracy and positivity while doing both. In 3 months that Lynn assisted in the prosecutor's office, she assisted with over 400 cases, helped with multiple walk-ins, and processed over 2,000 e-notices. And look at her, she's fresh as a daisy. That seems like that was exhausting. So she also showed excellent customer service to every defendant and defense attorney she interacted with. Lynn truly went above and beyond her work duties and is not only an asset to her current department, but also the city of Branson as a whole. Her commitment and ability to create a positive and warm work environment make her a shining example of the values held high by the city of Branson. Lynn, congratulations. Yes, keep up the good work. We have this.
So next, I have two proclamations to present, and Chief Schmidt, where are you? Chief Schmidt, report to the podium, please. Chief, this one touches me. This is a proclamation. Excuse me, could we either close the door or something? Thank you. Whereas 730 members of law enforcement in Missouri have made the ultimate sacrifice and been killed in the line of duty. Whereas 282 new names of fallen heroes across the country are being added to the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial this spring, including 118 officers killed in 2023 and 164 officers killed in the previous year. Whereas the service and sacrifice of all officers killed in the line of duty will be honored during National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund's 36th Candlelight Vigil on the evening of May 13th. Whereas the Candlelight Vigil is part of National Police Week, which we will be observed this year on May 10th through May 16th. Whereas May 15th is designated as Peace Officers Memorial Day in honor of all fallen officers and their families, and U.S. flags should be flown at half-staff. Now therefore, I, Larry Milton, Mayor of Branson, Missouri, along with our Board of Aldermen, resolve to honor the service and sacrifice of those law enforcement officers killed in the line of duty while protecting our communities and safeguarding our democracy. We hereby reserve National Police Week, May 10th through the 16th, 2024. And I'm going to say every day of the year. Whew. Well, that'll put a damper in the room. This next proclamation is for our Military Appreciation Month of May and Armed Forces Day, which is May 18th. Before I read this, May 18th is this Saturday, Armed Forces Day. In our city, we have two special events going on. We have two Medal of Honor recipients in town, Tony Orlando, Thunderbird pilot. Several are doing an honoring of Armed Forces Day. It's at the Encore Theater from 6 to 7:30. It's a free event. The Encore is the old Tony Orlando Theater. And then from 10 to 3 on Saturday, the United States Air Force will have, I believe, 10 aircraft at the Branson Airport, including 2 C-130s. Somebody asked me a couple days ago, what's a C-130? On the news, you've seen the United States dropping food in Gaza. The planes that fly, those are C-130s that are dropping that. There'll be a couple fighter aircraft. The pilots and crew from all of them will be there, so it'll be a great interactive. I don't know how many people have ever had the opportunity to get inside a military aircraft, but it's pretty cool. So this proclamation, whereas National Military Appreciation Month is recognized each May in observance of those who serve or have served in the United States Armed Forces. Whereas May is a month-long observation in the United States with several significant dates recognized between May 1st and May 31st, such as Military Spouse Appreciation Day, Armed Forces Day, Memorial Day, and others. Whereas Branson, for the first year ever, is now building May into a community-wide celebration when area businesses, shows, attractions, and residents recognize the importance of the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, Space Force, and National Guard. Whereas Branson is proud to celebrate the Tribute to Valor Foundation on a project called STEMliner 4 to host 76 students in a visit to the Johnson Space Center.
Duty is to God, yourself, your family.
Is that? Branson is hosting an exciting free public event called STEMliner Aviation Expo on May 18th at the Branson Airport. I therefore, Larry Milton, Mayor of the City of Branson, Missouri, do hereby proclaim May 24th and the month of May annually as Branson Military Appreciation Month. And if you would, I would encourage you to go back to our city website and watch the study session that we had today from 4:30 to 5:30. There's a lot of military organizations we have in our community, and we are now coming under one umbrella, and we're going to celebrate May and Armed Forces Day every May moving forward, which is so exciting. Bruce, who's here from 913? Oh, come on. Actually, why don't you all come up? Bob? Bob.
She's pointing. We'd never know where to look.
Okay, and I want you guys to. All right, smile big. Congratulations.
Wow, very nice. Nice job.
Too late. Okay, so anybody in favor of adjourning the meeting? Yeah. So moved. So this is the public comment section of the Board of Aldermen meeting. At this time, the board will hear the citizens who have signed up in the order they are listed. Please note the clerk will let speakers know when they have 30 seconds left, and a notification will sound when their time is up. We ask that speakers wrap up their comments upon hearing the 30-second warning. If a speaker would like a board member to bring an item from the consent agenda down for additional discussion, please note this request during comments. Madam Clerk, do we have any speakers?
Yes, sir, we have 5 speakers signed up this evening. Our first speaker is Amber Thompson, speaking on Midwest Al-Qaeda hostage units enforced by police on illegal Medicare fraud.
Excuse me? What's the topic?
You really want me to say it again?
Yeah.
Midwest Al-Qaeda hostage units enforced by police on illegal Medicare fraud.
Yes, you ready? You ready?
Sure.
Yeah. My name is Amber Thompson. I've been here my whole life. I was born in Springfield, Missouri. I'm going to talk a little fast today. It does not mean I'm mentally crazy, as we have policemen in this area who do like to label us mentally crazy just because we talk fast, and social workers who take their side, okay? But I'm talking this speed. I'm talking slower than a stockbroker, okay? But as fast as a news reporter. It's cruel and unusual punishment. It's breaking the Eighth Amendment for elderly, abused, disabled, and mentally labeled to be placed in hostage units, and in my opinion, even to be arrested and detained by a policeman when there's not a violent issue at hand. Okay, I'm gonna come back to that later. My mother is being held as a terrorist victim of the United States protocols. Right now, we're finding out they're using fake labels by the doctor. All it takes is one doctor to label any person in the room or in the city or in the United States a fake label, a mental label, and they will place them in the unit. An elderly person, they particularly will label them Alzheimer's, and they don't even have Alzheimer's. They will say they have hospice, and they are not terminally ill people. I have even had a friend now who got sick and just recently got put into a nursing home here in Point Lookout, Missouri, in Hollister. But it still affects Taney County, which is our community, the same county that controls this area. Okay, and what they do is they shift the victims.
Hey, Amber.
Shift the victims.
Could you back up just a
Yes,
hair?
let's say what was going on with that. Shift the victims, thank you, from one nursing home to another. They commonly take people here who are homeless, who become elderly, and they use that one visit to the doctor to give them those two false labels. And these people are being put basically in a kill shelter, okay? We're finding out these people are going in there within 2 days. They're giving them walkers to pretending they can't walk without assistance. I, by the way, am an expert professional, could witness in court. You cannot do that to people. Our job in a facility is to get people in and out of there, okay? In and out of there back to home. But they're supposed to progress in their ability to function. We ambulate them and get them out of their wheelchair. We ambulate them and get them out of being bedbound. I have had to testify even about police being held into a lack of medical help, okay? So I've had to testify and seen all sides. It affects everyone. And my mother in particular is in the Hollister nursing home. They use the police to be combative and keep those people held hostage. Okay, what's the difference between a hostage in this state of the United States and in the Middle East? In the Middle East, you have 4 days, 4 years maximum, usually, or 4 weeks that they hold you hostage before they get their money, and they use a person as a dangling carrot. In the United States, and the police have backed it up, they'll ban you like they banned me to even go in there and talk to your family. They think they're even giving them pills to make them urinary incontinent. Okay, and I have proof of that, witness of that. They're putting them in diapers, and they keep bringing them down in their mental ability. They give them zero mental stimulation. They put them in rooms they call the family room with zero decorations on the wall and no access to outside. My mother has been given no cell phone, no landline, no communication. I'm the only person in this town who is her legal and biological daughter or child, grown adult, okay? And they still have tried to have the cops harass me. I had them stalk me for a mile. It's obvious they're trying to put me down into a mental unit or into a nursing home or into a prison cell and false label me crazy, just like they did these other people, okay? How do we get them out? I talked to social workers. I called Medicare, 1-800, fraud, nothing. No, it's just a dead-end phone line. I called Quality of Medicare. I was given this by a social worker. I heard all I would need was one social worker to go in there, have her sign the piece of paper that she wanted out of that unit, have her driver's license and her social security ID to go into an apartment, which we had set up for her. But no one was allowed to talk to her, okay? And what they'll do is basically we have, and this is the whole entire progress, all these meetings like this that have happened to the Capitol, it's been going on for all of last year. Finally, Brian Seitz, our local politician, had it passed that no patient left isolated is the name of the law. You can look it up yourself. No patient left isolated is not doing anything. You are still having no communication with the outside public. You're being put into diapers. You're being
30
brain
seconds.
damaged by police enforcement because they allowed that nursing home to say that if I stepped on that property, I'd be arrested. And I had a cop follow me for a mile, and I talked to Eric Schmidt, your chief of police, today. I said, who is Franklin? Who is Anderson? Why did they almost break my glasses for having a headlight out? Why did they detain me in the back of a car? And why did they threaten to put me in a jail cell? I thought they were going to kill me. Okay? And he searched my whole entire car. He claimed I was doing drugs. Everyone in this town knows I ran for mayor. I'm on the governor's ballot right now to be the first female governor in this state. But as you know, the police will try to have me arrested, and they even were stalking me outside of the state in Illinois.
Thank you.
Something needs to happen. And one more question before the next speaker.
Time's up, Amber.
Yes, you need to help us. And you are directly responsible for allowing the citizens of this area to be held hostage as terrorists. And you are a terrorist yourself if you continue to disallow us to speak and defend our citizens. Thank you.
Madam Clerk?
If I get detained by a cop after this, then you should, that means Eric Schmidt and you're working together to get us arrested.
Deanna Slatton speaking on Smart Cities Agenda 2030.
Well, my topic's a little bit different than hers, but today I came to ask a question, and I wanted to know how many of you on the board know what a smart city is? If you know, raise your hand.
Deanna, the protocol is the board is not to respond.
Okay, so the protocol is not to respond. I will respond to you all if any of you know what a smart city is.
Deanna,
Yes.
you're also not to engage with the community, with the citizens.
Okay, I won't engage. I'll just talk to the mic myself, I guess.
You can talk to me.
Okay. So the smart cities is what Branson is trying to become. I've looked it up. I've been researching. I've seen some of the stuff that's going down. So is Kansas City. So is Springfield, possibly Cape Girardeau, and St. Louis. If you don't know what a smart city is, it's this. It is an entrapment to the citizens of this country. It is a stack 'em, pack 'em type city where they're going to put everybody in it. They're going to have surveillance on everything you do, everything you say. They even know the gate you walk. They are putting heavy metals in your body, working with 5G to target people. They have a kill box, and they can literally kill you with this kill box. And you don't have to believe me, but I got all the documents, all the patents, everything on this. And I've been wanting to bring this to you, so I'm bringing different things each time. The smart cities will have sections, and people will be in those sections. You will be working wherever they see you're fit to be working. They're doing this because of the climate. Has nothing to do with climate, has everything to do with controlling people. You need to go look up the NASA war documents. Look those up. They don't like people at all. So they are in the mode of depopulating right now. All these nations have gathered together, and these elites have decided they're going to depopulate the entire planet. Are y'all lucky? Do you know? Are y'all lucky? Do you know? That's what's coming down the pipes, y'all. And it's no joke. And you can get on, you can research, but don't go to Google, because that is 666, the devil himself. They own it. The elites own it. They own 100% of our media. They own our food. They're putting this weaponry in our food, our water, our soft drinks, our water pipes. And it's made to where it can, you are actually a physical wire. Don't believe me? Get your cell phone, download the app to check your blood pressure. How you think that happens, people? Your wire. They're doing this against your consent. Are you consenting to be part of the energy and part of the cell towers and part of all that system? Did you consent to it? Did y'all consent to it? Absolutely not.
Really?
No, it's not it's really happening. They can do this. It's called the biofield, y'all. It's medical. They want to take it down to where all the doctor has to do is get on the phone with you and read everything inside your body.
Amber?
Everything in your body. They can do this. That's where it's going. And they're going to control you with this system in your smart city. Now, I don't know if Branson's trying to head there, Larry. I don't know. But there's some things that's coming down the pipes. It looks like it might be. So I'm here to tell you that this city needs to reconsider, because we got a lot of veterans out here, and these veterans worked hard to keep us safe and free. And I want this city to remain that. And I think this city, being smarter than the smart city would be to do, is make it safe. So it's safe for anybody to come here and not be weaponized against. And what she's saying is true about the nursing homes. I've seen it myself.
30 seconds.
All through the years, I've seen it happen to people. They'll call me crying, complaining about it. I was in real estate for 20 years, and I've seen it happen to other people. So I've got friends, and they've told me all about that. And I've watched banks take people's houses away from them because they didn't have any family around them. And they put the loan in somebody else's name. This stuff really happens, y'all. You better wake up. I got 3 seconds. God wins.
Madam Clerk?
Your Honor, our next speaker is Bobby Wydeen, speaking on Shout Out.
Good evening. I have 2 shout outs for people in the city of Branson. One is Cindy Shook, because Head Start had their end of year celebration at Pavilion B at the Recplex. Somehow we picked the right day last week where it wasn't raining and storming, and we had a great night. And so I want to thank you. And then my second shout out is for Christy in Utilities. Yesterday, we had our water pressure dropped at the Head Start on South Falls Avenue. And I called and I talked to Christy, and she goes, we have a crew out. We know there's a leak somewhere. We're going to find it. She called me back a little bit later and said, we found the leak. Do you still have water? I said, yes, we have water. It's just not great pressure, but we have water. Because if we didn't have water, Head Start would have to close. So we had water. Christy took good care of us, and I just want to thank you.
Bobby, thank you so much.
Hey. Mayor, could we have Bobby every week start off public comment?
Madam Clerk?
Our next speaker is Matt Kendrick, speaking on Great Time in Branson.
Hello, Board, Mr. Mayor. I just want to say I had the privilege to be at the firehouse opening on May 1st, and what a turnout that was. I mean, I've never seen a turnout so great for an event like that, and I just think it was great for the city. I also had, even though it was really wet on Cinco de Mayo to go out to the meadows, and it was still a great turnout for that as well, which I just want to say I think it speaks volumes about this community for people to come to these events, to take time out of their day to go and even go to Cinco de Mayo turnouts even when it's raining. I think that has a lot to say about you guys, because I think people have trust in you. That's why you're here. And also I have a shout out. I want to shout out Michael Woods. Of all people in the city that I've had the most interaction with is him. Even when the whole RV park thing first came about, it was in the planning commission stage. I was laying in a hospital bed, Chicago, and I told him I couldn't be there. And I said, would you read a statement for me? He said, without a doubt. Even though it was in opposition, he said, without a doubt. I've thrown so many ideas at him, and a lot of them have been very crazy. And in a nice way, he has said, you're crazy. but a lot of ideas I throw at him, he says, okay, it makes sense, and he acts on it. And it was just, like just now, him and I had a conversation about something, and he was like, yeah, if it works out, it's great. So I just want to say thank you to him, and, I mean, what a city. And I can't wait to see what it's going to be like in the next few years. So thanks, guys.
Matt, I'll tell you, there many of us are very proud of Mike.
Yeah, he's great. Thank you.
Madam Clerk?
Our final speaker is Carl Finkenbeiner, speaking on entertainment zone ordinance change.
I'll keep this section brief. I think I'm just supposed to ask for that item to be removed from the consent agenda down to the regular agenda. I think that's what I'm supposed to do,
Okay,
if that's okay.
yes,
Thank you.
yeah. Yeah, you know you can make the request, but it'll have to be, has to be a motion and a second from an alderman to bring it down.
Okay. Should I go ahead and use this time to speak about it then?
Yes.
All right, okay. I'll go ahead and do that. So I'll make the request, and if it's granted, great. If not, then we'll take it up a different time. And I apologize, I did not, I think so there's a little bit of background here. I'd met with, on a different separate issue, met with Kathy and Larry prior to this. I will acknowledge that I am late to understand what had happened. So I don't know all the background behind the ordinance that's being proposed to be passed tonight, or all of the items that it is trying to accomplish or fix. And I am sure that what the intended fix is a legitimate reason, and there's a lot of reasons why you all want to do that. But what I'd like to raise briefly tonight is what I think may be an unintended consequence. And instead of trying to argue the legalities of it and go through that, I'll try to just give you an example, because that'll probably paint a picture for you and why I think it could be, if we don't at least create some type of amendment to it or an exception of some kind, it could be unintended consequences that occur. So the way I understand it is that if the ordinance is passed inside the entertainment zone, no multifamily will be allowed, which is basically the entire strip. And depending on how or what you define as multifamily, that could impact significant development. So I'll give you an example of what we're doing at Roark, what our development company is doing at Roark, basically purchasing an old dilapidating asset in the city of Branson and trying to revitalize it and remodel it and all that stuff and then sell it into the market like that. We have another property that's on the strip under contract now that was what we intended to do with that, is revamp it, revitalize it, and breathe life back into it. And if I understand this ordinance tonight, as I think I do, that would potentially be prohibited from occurring on the strip. So I think that if that's the intended action of the council tonight or the Board of Aldermen, then I don't agree with that. I don't agree with it. I have to respect the decision. But I would state that will, if I don't think that's considers what will occur long-term with these dilapidated properties. If I'm right, I think what the council is trying to avoid is a perpetuation of these dilapidated buildings being used for less than desirable purposes. And if I read some of the comments, a lot of 911 responses and a lot of resources are being used on certain properties in the strip, and that's trying to be avoided. At the same time, what we're trying to do is breathe life back into these properties that are not very viable anymore. I don't think, if the goal is that eventually, that if we do this, these old properties will become defunct and someone will come along and tear it down. While that might occur with some, I don't think that will occur with all of them. And I think that the highest and best use for some of the properties, not all of them, would be to revitalize them, to take them as they exist today and reuse them and remodel them and use them in some form or function. That would take a much quicker time frame between now and a demolition of the property. So I guess what I would respectfully request from the Board of Aldermen is to at least consider some type of amendment or exception to the proposed ordinance that would permit what would be consistent with what's already utilized in the entertainment zone, such as lodging. So lodging, if you think of lodging, it's short-term stay, transient guests, not long-term rental, not people who are going to pay less than market rate rent. That's
30
not what
seconds.
this would be. And so that would be my request, is to at least allow something like what we're doing at Row Arc along the Strip in this particular instance, which would still be consistent with some of the other lodging places on the Strip, like a traditional hotel. So that's all.
Thank you, Carl. Madam Clerk?
There are no more speakers.
So, next is the consent agenda. Are there any items that any member of the board would like moved down from the consent agenda to ask additional questions or make comments? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, would you please read the items of the consent agenda?
Your Honor, the items on the consent agenda are as follows. Approval of the Board of Aldermen minutes for the April 23rd, 2024 special meeting and April 23rd, 2024 regular meeting. Acknowledge receipt of Finance Committee minutes for the September 28th, 2023 and December 7th, 2023 regular meeting. And final reading of Bill Number 6440, an ordinance amending Chapter 94 of the Branson Municipal Code, clarifying the exclusion of multifamily dwellings in the entertainment zoning district. Your Honor, that concludes the reading of the consent agenda.
So do I have a motion approving all items on the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, would you provide a roll call vote for the consent agenda, please?
Lucas. Denham.
Yes.
Cooper.
Yes.
Howden.
Yes.
LeBlanc.
Yes.
And Schultz.
Yes.
The result of the vote is 5-0. Motion carries. Your Honor, the next item is an update on the Lodging Safety Initiative.
We'll get a staff report from Alex.
Good evening, Mayor and Board. I'm here tonight to provide an update on our city's lodging safety initiative. We had initially proposed this idea back in June of 2023. This is an issue that was prevalent when Kathy and I came on board here in the city, and we decided to implement some processes to make sure that we can tackle this tough issue for our community. So I'm here tonight to just provide an update on where we are currently on this item and to provide some updates on progress. So before I get in, I just want to give a brief overview of what I'm going to be talking about tonight. I want to go back over in our study session back in June what our city's mission is in this initiative and also the framework of our lodging safety initiative. I'm going to give you a brief update on our progress. And I also want to recognize a few special guests here in our audience. Lisa Marshall from the Taney County Health Department, Tracy Banks from House of Hope, and Lori Hayes from the Branson Area Lodging Association. These collective organizations are our partners in ensuring that we hit the objectives here that we're setting out to do on providing safe and addressing life and safety issues in a lot of the establishments in town. So I want to give a special thank you to Tracy Banks. Her organization, House of Hope, has been absolutely critical in providing services outside of the typical government role in our relocation assistance program that we have for affected and impacted tenants of our initiative. So I really appreciate Tracy Banks and her organization's leadership in consolidating all of the nonprofit organizations and really delivering on this initiative. You've been an excellent partner and really appreciate all you've done to make this initiative a success.
Excuse me a sec. Oh, go ahead. Alex, I also wanted to say thank you to Tracy. What Alex said was very true. This initiative was so important for our community, and the benefits that you brought to the table, you were instrumental with helping this process unfold. So this board appreciates what you've done. Thank you.
So as we learned about this issue, we scoped our goals as a city, which are generally defined in four primary goals. The first is to create a fair, clearly defined, and enforceable regulatory playing field for all businesses, especially lodging establishments here on this initiative operate in the city. Secondly, we want to ensure legitimacy in our City of Branson business license. As a visiting guest or tenant in a lot of these lodging establishments, and especially for businesses across our city, there's a level of expectation of protection of health, life, and safety. So something we take very seriously here in the city in our regulatory role, but of course want to create a regulatory playing field that's fair for all businesses and really raising the benchmark of what we expect to include the minimum life and safety requirements. We also want to ensure the city of Branson enforces the minimum laws and regulations to protect life and safety per our currently adopted code. And of course, we want to ensure that all non-compliant lodging establishments have the repeated opportunity and the assistance needed to achieve compliance. So on its face, this is not an initiative to close business, to enforce the heavy hand of government. What it really comes down to is a compliance assistance program to make sure that certain operations and businesses in town that haven't met the respective International Property Maintenance Code, Fire Code, building permits, business licensing, we can achieve a pathway to getting licensed and to come into compliance, again, for those minimum life and safety codes. So I really want to reemphasize this is a compliance assistance program versus a heavy-handed regulatory action.
So Alex, just for clarity, I know you used the term raise the bar. Just for clarity to everybody, we're raising the bar from 0 to life safety issues.
So thank you, because it's
I
a
don't
great
want people to
segue.
think that we're expanding our rules, right? We're just
Correct.
trying to enforce the base life safety issues.
Correct. And so it's a good segue because Branson's brand, of course, is built on tourism, and it's unique and it's special. And for the city of Branson, what we really want to do is protect that. To give you an idea, in the past, there have been a number of unlicensed lodging establishments. That number is very small. For instance, there have been certain establishments that either have never been licensed or haven't been licensed since 2021 or subsequent years. So what we did is essentially create a list based on longest out of compliance, which would essentially be the highest risk. And we started to work through that list and do courtesy notifications and reach out, which I'll get to in a second. But I really want to make the point clear that we have a thriving tourism and hotelier industry here, and that's something we really want to protect. Many of the lodging establishments here in town are licensed. They do follow the law. They do get their proper permits. They get the proper applications. They get the tax requirements in, and we don't have an issue, right? We have our yearly annual inspections for fire and code, and it's really simple, and it's an easy bar to hit. Really what this is addressing is the severe, repeat, non-compliant establishments. It's our goal to bring them into compliance. So to kind of give you a history of lodging safety, so to Mayor, to your point, I did some research along with our legal counsel into what is our current regulatory framework for enforcement of business licensing and what is required if you want to open a hotel or maintain a hotel here. What we found is that we have the codes on the books. That's existed. It just hasn't been enforced. Part of our administration has really been to empower staff to enforce the code, to make sure that folks are hitting the minimum life safety requirements, and they really needed that backing and support. So that's something that we put forth in forming, but in order to do that, we really had to reach out first to the business community. So what we did is reached out and partnered with Branson Area Lodging Association and other businesses and nonprofit stakeholders, including the nonprofits, as a community-wide collaborative approach to addressing this issue that's been impacting our community for many years. So after that, we formed an internal work group between our fire code licensing and planning departments, and we set out then of identifying the highest risk to our community in the extended stay, short-term transient guest field. So what we did is we created a compliance assistance process, and I'll get into the details of this in a moment. But really what this is we do courtesy notices to all applicants that we have on file. Our planning department and licensing department reaches out, lets them know about the upcoming business year. In addition to that, we also do courtesy notifications. The city administrator sent out a letter to all hotels in town informing them of this, partnering with Branson Area Lodging and Health Department to make sure that folks are aware that the city of Branson is going to start to require the things that should have been required for many, many years. So that's part of our compliance assistance process, and ultimately what it is it's a series of 3 notifications. First one is we do a courtesy notification. We visit the property and we ask to speak to management or ownership and ask, Are you operating as a business? Because the last thing we want to assume is that they're operating out of compliance. We want to touch base and make sure, maybe you're closed, maybe you're doing renovations, maybe there's a new owner and they just haven't contacted the city yet. So we want to be able to reach out and be proactive and not just make assumptions, right? We want to meet the business community halfway. So after that, if we don't receive a response, or the response is, yes, I'm not licensed, I maybe need assistance on what is the application, what are the documents, can we meet with fire, can we meet with code? We're happy to make those connections, and we're happy to have meetings. And we've had meetings with a number of different operations in town that maybe don't have the financing, or they don't have the understanding. Maybe a management company is a bit off, not sure of what the requirements are. We're happy to provide that information. We've developed inspection checklists, guides on how to pass an inspection, to make sure that we give a clear and defined avenue of what it takes and what's expected and what's required ultimately. And then, of course, our third notification, and before we get to this point, we like to bring in the operation and have a true compliance meeting and saying, hey, this is where you are, this is what's outstanding, what time frame do you need to get this done? How can we be helpful here, right? And there's challenges. Sometimes they're selling them, the property. Sometimes they're changing management companies. So we try to be flexible in working with them because, again, ultimately, we're not here to close businesses. We're here to make sure the minimum life safety standards are in effect and required. And lastly, we're currently implementing this initiative. So it's been about 9 months since we've done this. And again, the main core part of this initiative is city building codes, property maintenance codes, fire codes, health department, the state lodging license, city business licensing, and of course, tourism tax remittance. But again, our objective, right, is to provide clear direction to the city departments on the priority, but also objective 2, assist the establishments to meet the minimum requirement and ultimately to operate within city limits, be a successful business, and build Branson's brand. So to give you an idea, our initial list comprised of about 14 establishments. This list in particular, a few of these were never licensed in the city. They didn't have a license that was lapsed. There was significant complaints from tenants living there of conditions that we won't go into. So we made sure to start with a priority list, make sure it's defensible, make sure that we're not targeting any properties or be very methodical in how we approach the situation. Again, I walked through the first and second and third notices, the compliance assistance meetings where we can sit down and have a real conversation of where we are, where they are, how can we get to a time frame for the repairs or change of ownership to happen. To give you an idea, out of our list and our expanded list that we've since developed, we've actually been able to have 6 lodging establishments come into compliance and become successfully licensed. And I'm leading with that because that is ultimately our goal. It's ultimately our goal to make sure that there's a happy medium between enforcing the codes and making sure that folks can run a business here and be successful and continue to build our brand. So I take great pride in that, and our licensing team, Matt Henry in particular, Norm Teed in our code and building department, Randy and Darren in our fire departments, Cherie in finance, Holly in legal. This has been a collaborative effort to reach out to the correct entities here and establish that communication that hasn't existed in the past. So I'm very proud of our team that are doing their jobs here in the city of Branson every day. Unfortunately, there are a number who have been closed by the city for a number of reasons, either a failure to address significant life safety violations, not having a business license, or substantially delinquent payment of city water bills. And again, the code and the current framework we use for this initiative has been longstanding. It just has never been essentially enforced. So again, after we have this unfortunate event where we have to terminate water supply, or we have to condemn a building, it's important to bring those operators back in and have a meeting saying, okay, the dust has settled. Doesn't mean you can't continue working on making sure your property is in compliance. Let's get you to that place, right? However, as you can imagine, protecting life and safety and health of folks, we can't have them staying in that building. So we're very conscious, of course, of revenue streams into businesses and having the funds to do so. But there's also a balance, too, of protecting life and safety. And I will tell you, there are some very significant violations that we've had to address. And ultimately, I think, our team is really watching out again for the life and safety aspect of this. So with that, I'll open it up to questions from the Board of Aldermen, but I just want to, again, reiterate the compliance assistance nature of this initiative. We take that very seriously. When we get to the second and third notice of various establishments, the question has been, how can we work with them? How can we help them achieve compliance? What can we do to be a better partner? How do we communicate? Who are we communicating with? Do we need to talk to the owner, right, versus the property manager? But that weighs very heavy on us. So it's unfortunate that we've had 8 that we've had to shut down, but I really hope to see the list of 6 continue to exponentially grow as we continue to reach out and have more conversations in partnership with our hotel industry.
I see Lori Hayes Lori Hayes from Lodging and Lisa from the Health Department in the audience. I know this has been a collaborative effort. When this was initially presented to the board, I believe early last year, and we had many discussions on it, the amount of work that was put in to come up with a plan, right, and then methodically implement the plan in a manner where we were able to take care of those that had to move out. From my opinion, I am just very impressed with the importance of what needed to be done and how it was handled. So before I ask the board for comments, is there anybody in the audience wishing to address this? Come on up.
I just have one question, Alex. Out of those 8 that were closed, were there any interest from those owners to become compliant? That's the only thing.
The result varies. Some not so much, I'll be completely frank. Some maybe didn't take it seriously that we were going down this path. I can tell you, I think now that we've gotten through 8, that message has got out to those that continue to operate unsafe, life safety violating issues. I think that message has gotten out. Again, that's unfortunate. That's not where we want to head with this. But again, we have to prioritize life and safety. And you'll hear that through all of our discussions here in City Hall. It's a tough decision. But again, it's something that our community deserves. And more importantly, the various folks that find themselves living in these situations are vulnerable populations that I would say are getting preyed on in some circumstances. And it's our job as a city to make sure that doesn't occur. So that's something we take very seriously. And again, we have the tools to do it. So we're happy to do that here. It's a new day in Branson.
Any other comments from everyone in the audience? Lisa and Lori, thank you. Hearing none, comments from the board? Clay?
Yeah, sorry. I too want to say thank you for this initiative and all the hard work that everybody's put into this. And like you say, it is all about life and safety. But also by, unfortunately, like you say, you had to shut down 8 places. But I think that does send a clear message that everybody's going to play by the same rules and it's an even playing field. So I'm very excited to see the city get behind this, and thank you for the presentation.
Well, I know, thanks for saying that, Clay. I know when we were first discussing this. Sorry, is there anything you want to share, Ralph? I felt it was the responsibility of the city. We had these codes on our books, and in my opinion, if we were allowing lodging properties that had life safety issues, if we were allowing them to continue to operate, I think the city was responsible for that. had as much responsible as the property owner. We're aware of these defects, we turned our head, and something happened, right? Ralph, did you want to share?
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate you yielding your time to me. You know, what's interesting about this particular initiative was it wasn't rolled out to all the pieces were in place. And, you know, it's to Alex and Kathy, to your leadership and making sure that once the ball started rolling down, we weren't on the fly. Like, everybody knew what step was going to happen next. And I think that's very important, because what it does is it lends itself to the level of compassion and thought that went into the process. And it had to be, because we're, in essence, affecting the lives of people that didn't even know. Like, they're, again, kind of, in a sense, almost a victim of the circumstance, so to speak. But of course, the level of importance, as the mayor said, was, you know, ultimately, if the city knew something was happening, we couldn't play ignorant to the fact. We had to enforce what, for all intents and purposes, was a code already on the books, but no one had ever enforced it. And I think the board made a proclamation to enforce that and give city staff and unhandcuff them with the ability to go out and enforce that. And I thought, you know, for us, that was very important, because, you know, we're all here to make this a better place. And to which I want to just kind of go to Tracy for a minute, because I just want to speak to your character and your resolve, because, man, and I know Marshall's on here and listening, and, you know, early on in my board experience, there was a lot of stuff going on with your House of Hope. And to the degree of discussions that were had, that you stayed in the game and you believed in Branson, that you didn't give up. And to be that first call, because I know me and Alex talked, and you're like one of the first calls when one of these things is going to be closed, like you're one of the first calls. And the fact that you didn't give up on us just speaks volume to your character and your organization. And again, I just want to publicly thank you for sticking with us and being that person for the people. And so thank you very much.
Thank you, Ralph.
Yeah, Alex, I also want to thank you for the great briefing on this topic the other day that you and the staff gave. It's an area that I hadn't been involved in before, and I really appreciate the deep dive. And I also appreciate the compassion that you and the staff applied to this whole topic. I think it's very commendable. It reflects well on the city, even though it's an extraordinarily difficult topic to deal with. I'd also say I was, you know, when you get down into the details, I also have to say I'm sorry that our staff and the city and the county health department and others even have to deal with the things that you guys are talking about dealing with. It's a horror show in some cases. It's incredible. And so I appreciate that probably weighs on you guys heavily as well. And just want to thank you for that.
Thank you, Alderman. I appreciate it. And of course, it's frontline staff. It's the code inspectors, right, who go into some of these facilities that have dangerous conditions, right? And protecting staff is a very important part of this. So I just want to, you know, our code fire folks, thank you for all you do in doing your jobs and keeping our city safe. I really get to get up here and provide the overview, but the hard work really comes from you all. So I really appreciate that, and I hope you can see how much the board appreciates that too as well. And thank you for your courage in supporting this initiative.
I think one other thing, if you could just relate the figure, I know that we've even gone so far as to provide additional funding to the Taney County Health Department to help support this type of initiative. If I recall, the figure's $180,000 extra.
That is correct.
So, you know, we're not only putting our team behind it, we're putting budget and other departments behind it as well. So thank you.
Ruth?
I just want to chime in, agree with everything that this board has said. However, on the books, we had black and white of how to follow through. But although we have black and white, there's humans involved in this situation. So the human side that everybody participated in, you know, it wasn't just hammer down. And this community is better off for doing it this way. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, for everything that you've done, because it did take a community to do this, so thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you.
Your Honor, this is the first reading of Bill Number 6443, an ordinance improving payment of incentive fees to ASM Global Branson Convention Center's management company in accordance with the terms of the management services contract.
So you've heard the first reading of Bill number 6443. Do I have a motion approving this bill?
So moved.
Second.
A motion is second. We'll now get a staff report from Cherie.
Good evening, Board. So the Finance Committee met on April 25th, and we reviewed the contract that the city has with SMG. SMG is the Branson Convention Center's management company. So in the contract, there's terms for, the payout of the incentive fee. And the board agreed that they met all terms and all guidelines, and they voted to pay out 100%, $154,450.56. So I'm here to seek your approval for payment.
Thank you. If anybody has an interest, we do record all of our meetings, and this was thoroughly discussed on our Finance Committee. And that meeting will be online, but there was a thorough discussion, a lot of questions and input, and it was a unanimous decision from the Finance Committee to award the 100% bonus.
Yes, sir.
Does anybody in the audience have any questions or comments? Any members of the board? Wow, hearing none, let's vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Nay, same sign. Ayes have it.
Can we, Alderman Huddern, I'm sorry, could you voice your vote for us?
Aye.
Thank you. The result of the vote is 5-0, motion carries.
Okay, thank you.
Your Honor, this is the first reading of Bill Number 6444, an ordinance accepting the donation of land and lift station to the City of Branson from Point Royale Property Owners Association, Incorporated.
You've heard the first reading of Bill Number 6444. Do I have a motion approving this bill?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We'll get a staff report from Holly.
Law Department. What we are asking you to accept today, this is a map. The red is what we are accepting in the quitclaim deed. The pink is the access easement. We have multiple other easements. This is what used to be a treatment plant. It is now a lift station in the darkest corner to the left of your screen. That square is still being utilized. The pink access was necessary for our traversing to and from. We do have other access to come and go from the station that's already been accepted and transferred to the city via easement in 1998. This resolves any concerns as to ownership of this structure and essentially a footpath around it. It's approximately 13,841 square feet with an access easement of 1,275 square feet, just in case you're keeping score.
Well, I was going to ask if that was a public swimming pool next to the sewer treatment plant. Does anybody in the audience
Let's not encourage.
Anybody in the audience have any questions or comments? Any members of the board?
Yay. We've had a lot of discussions about
We've
this.
talked about this
A lot
for
of
a long
executive
time.
meetings and, yeah.
This
So,
resolves about 30-plus years of questions.
Yeah.
yeah.
So does anybody have, could there be any more questions left?
Holly, I understand the only issue that we may have is that we're going to have to demolish a building on there ultimately.
Yes.
So if you don't mind, let's vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Marshall?
Aye.
Thank you. Ayes have it.
All right. And that brings us to appointments. We have several rounds we're going to do here. The first one is, first off, they're all in accordance with our board and committee appointment procedure. The first one we're doing is Category 1, which is appointments made by the mayor with approval of the Board of Aldermen. The board will be voting on a slate of appointments, and Mayor, will you please announce your slate of appointments to be voted on?
Yes, for the Park Board, I would like to put up Lane McConnell, Jeremy Bluto, and Dacia
Vigna.
Vigna?
Vigna.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now hear this. Now hear this. My choices for the Park Board would be Lane McConnell, Jeremy Bluto, and Dacia Vigna.
I like it.
And my appointment to the, we're putting these two together, Hill?
Yes, please.
So my appointment for the Planning Commission with terms expiring April 2028 would be Chuck O'Day and Tony Morelli. What? Morale. Do I have a motion to approve the slate of appointments for Category 1 as presented?
So, second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it.
Marshall can.
Oh, Marshall.
Thank you.
Aye.
Okay, one down. That brings us to Category 2, and these are appointments made by the governing body. So on these, there were 3 vacancies on the Board of Adjustment, and we received 2 applicants. So the 2 applicants will be voted on by slate first, and then in order to fill the remaining vacancy on the Board of Adjustment, qualified applicants that were not selected for the Planning Commission who expressed interest in serving on the Board of Adjustment will be voted on by the board via ballot to fill the additional vacancy. So first, we're going to vote on the 2 applicants for the 2 vacancies on Board of Adjustment with terms expiring April 2029, and those names are Candace Cook and Kelsey Schulich.
So do I have a motion to approve the slate of appointments for?
Second.
We had 3 openings and 2 applicants. Clay?
Oh, I see. Okay, never mind. I jumped ahead of
You and Ralph need to sit together. So do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Then let's vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it.
In Marshall, it was an aye. It was very faint, but I heard it.
It was faint?
Yes, but it was an aye, so.
Thank you, Marshall.
The result of the vote is 5-0, motion carries. So then the following applicants will be voted on via ballot for the Board of Adjustment to fill the unexpired term of Jim Babcock until April 2026. We're going to vote on one name, and the applicants are Patricia McQuarrie, Matthew Kendrick, and Scott Flamling. And then for Board of Appeals, with a term expiring April 2029, we're also going to vote for one to fill one vacancy, and those names are Scott Flamling and Candace Cook. And these will be done via ballot. We just need a motion to vote.
So move.
On the ballot for both Board of Adjustment and Board of Appeals.
Second.
Okay.
So now, Board, if you would so kindly vote on the ballots for Board of Adjustment and Board of Appeals, and I will come and collect them and read them. Oh, okay, he's
Am I
ready.
missing? Well, maybe the mayor doesn't vote. No. Fine, just fine. I can do it if I want to.
Okay, so for Board of Adjustment, Alderman.
Hey, Hillary?
Yes. Hi.
Sorry, should I vote now? Sorry.
Yeah, that sounds good, Alderman Heldon. Who do you vote for Board of Adjustment? We'll do that one first, and then we'll do Board of Appeals.
Okay, Matthew Kendrick.
Okay. And then Alderman Schultz voted for Patricia McQuarrie. Alderman LeBlanc voted for Scott Flamling. Alderman Cooper voted for Matthew Kendrick. Alderman Denham voted for Matthew Kendrick. So that is 3 votes for Matthew Kendrick, and he will be the one to fill the vacancy on Board of Adjustment. Next, we will do Board of Appeals. Alderman Howden, who would you like to vote for that?
Scott Flamling.
Okay. And Alderman Cooper voted for Candace Cook. Alderman LeBlanc voted for Scott Flamling. Alderman Schultz voted for Scott Flamling. Alderman Denham voted for Candace Cook. So the result of the vote is 3 for Scott Flamling and 2 for Candace Cook. So Scott Flamling will be voted in on the Board of Appeals. And that's that round. I feel like we should do like a round of applause or something before we move on. Oh. Yeah. There, good. Okay. And our last one is category 3. Due to the way that Section 2-28 Administrative and Supervisory Committees of the Branson Municipal Code is written, there is not an established number of positions on the Finance Committee or Human Resources Committee. The code states that the mayor and the board may appoint citizens to serve on each of the committees. So the mayor and board will need to determine the number of positions they would like to have on these committees. We'll vote first on the number, and then we'll vote by ballot on the appointees. So go ahead, Mayor.
I would like to recommend 3 on each because we want as much community input as possible. And so filling up the board with citizens, I think, is healthy for our community. So my choice is 3. Do you need the board opinions?
If we could get a motion to that effect in a second, then we can vote.
Yeah, so move on that motion.
Second.
And a vote. And Mayor, you can vote on this one as well.
Aw. So we have a motion, a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you, Marshall. Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it.
Okay, so the category 3 appointments made by the mayor and the Board of Aldermen, the mayor and board will now be voting by ballot on the following applicants, and the 3 applicants receiving the most votes will be appointed to the Finance Committee and Human Resource Committee with terms expiring April 2025. So for the Finance Committee with terms expiring April 2025, the applicants are Marcus Harmon, Alex Williams, Clark McBrady, and Michael Pinkley. And for Human Resources Committee with terms expiring April 2025, we have Moxie Black, Candace Cook, Scott Flamling, and Lane McConnell. And we just need a motion and a second to vote by ballot on those, and then we'll do the same thing we just did.
So move, Madam Clerk.
Second.
Thank you.
So we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
If you would so kindly vote on the ballots, and the mayor gets to vote on this one as well.
So we turn these in to you? Marshall, we're turning in written ballots. I'm assuming Hill will be asking you for your choices.
Great.
Okay, Alderman Howden, will you give your 3 choices for the Finance Committee?
Alex Williams, Clark McBratney, Michael Pinkley.
Okay, thank you. And Alderman LeBlanc voted for Marcus Harmon, Alex Williams, and Michael Pinkley. Alderman Schultz voted for Marcus Harmon, Alex Williams, and Clark McBratney. Mayor Milton voted for Alex Williams, Clark McBratney, and Michael Pinkley. Alderman Cooper voted for Alex Williams, Clark McBratney, and Michael Pinkley. And Alderman Denham voted for Alex Williams, Clark McBratney, and Michael Pinkley. So those votes are 2 for Marcus Harmon, 6 for Alex Williams, 5 for Clark McBratney, and 5 for Michael Pinkley. So the top 3 are Alex Williams, Clark McBratney, and Michael Pinkley to the Finance Committee. Alderman Howden, will you give your 3 choices for Human Resources Committee?
Yes. Moxie Black, Candace Cook, Lane McConnell.
Okay, and Alderman Cooper voted for Candace Cook, Scott Flamling, Elaine McConnell. Mayor Milton voted for Moxie Black, Candace Cook, Elaine McConnell. Alderman Schultz voted for Moxie Black, Candace Cook, and Elaine McConnell. Alderman LeBlanc, Moxie Black, Scott Flamling, Elaine McConnell, and Alderman Denham was Moxie Black, Candace Cook, Scott Flamling. So we had 5 votes for Moxie Black, 5 for Candace Cook, and 5 for Elaine McConnell, and those are the 3 that will be appointed to the Human Resources Committee.
They deserve a round of applause.
We're done. All good. Thank you very much for bearing with me.
So we're at the report section of our meeting. Ruth?
Although I wasn't able to attend because I was out of town, I would just like to say thank you to our fire department and the ceremony for the new fire department. I was able to go on a tour, but not able to attend the ceremony. And thank you for all our life safety law enforcement out there that take good care of us constantly.
Mr. Cooper?
No, I have nothing to report, Mayor.
Marshall?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Actually, Larry, I think that you need to be commended tonight for something that, I take these personnel decisions that we make, whether it's finance, parks and rec, planning and zoning, or even the opportunity that we got to appoint a new alderman to the board, very seriously. And while election season comes around and it wraps up on the first Tuesday in every April, I usually don't rest until we get these right. And I just have to say, Mr. Mayor, in your tenure as a mayor, I think that you've gotten them right just about every single time. You've listened to the aldermen and to the citizens. And so the ones that you've put up and the ones that you voted for, and even how you handled getting the new alderman on the board with Artie, I just think that you should be commended for that. You've done a great, great job. So.
Wow. Thanks. Thank you, Marshall. Ralph, would you like to share anything with the rest of us?
Tell the mayor how good he is, Ralph.
Calling you Maverick from now on. Because you're writing checks your body can't cash. No, Chief Morton, the fire station is absolutely incredible. The ceremony, over the top. I think the thing I heard the most out there was, wow, so many people showed up, and to pull something like that off in under 300 days took the team of people that are, around and behind the scenes and everything. And, again, it's just another way that, when Kathy, I think whenever you became city administrator, you said there's going to be a new day in Branson. And that's really starting to take hold. It's a new day in Branson, and, things are happening. And to use the mayor's phrase, we're moving at the speed of business, not the speed of government. And it's just accolades to the team that we have together and in every department. So thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Ralph. Glenn? Oh.
Yeah, thank you. It was great to see all the veterans here this evening. It was a wonderful commentary. It's nice to honor them. Looking forward to the meeting of bringing our veterans groups together and trying to make it even better within Branson. I think that's really exciting. Just wanted to report, I attended my first meeting today of the M. Graham Clark Downtown Airport over in Hollister. I'm on the board for that, representing the city. Interestingly, the airport posted a slight profit this past month, which was a great thing to see. Doesn't always happen, isn't necessarily intended to do that, but it was nice to see. What I found interesting was that they've got a fairly major project going on with the Missouri Department of Transportation where they're redoing the lighting package for the whole airport. So they're currently replacing taxiway reflectors. They'll soon begin removal of beacon and installation. And then they're going to take out the runway end identification lights and put in a new wind cone as well. They'll actually end up shutting down the airport for June 12th through the 22nd because of that last piece of remodeling is rather extensive. So they've just asked that we get the word out to various aircraft operators that plan on a shutdown of that airport for that period. They're going to try desperately to open it up on the weekends during that, which is their busy period, but they just don't know at this point. That's my report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Glenn. Kathy?
Just one more thank you and note of appreciation to the team involved in the Safe Lodging Initiative, which is so key to, again, as Alex made the point so eloquently about protecting the brand of Branson, but most importantly is to help stop the victimization of some of the more vulnerable in our community. Some of that was going on, and to be able to use our existing codes and our existing authority to be able to do the right thing by the taxpayers, the residents, and the visitors to Branson is key to a successful community for generations to come. They have weekly meetings. Alex rides point on all of this stuff for me. The team is extraordinary, committed, passionate, but one more emphasis point of we could not do this without the support and coordination with our partners throughout Taney County, and you heard some of those listed today. There are others as well, but we wanted to make sure that with the Herculean efforts that Tracy Banks has exhibited in her coordinating efforts with all the other nonprofits to help move people to safer shelter and housing, we couldn't do this without all of them. So I wanted to make sure to chime in on that too. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Why, thank you. Thank you, Alderman Schultz. And then just one more reminder for everybody to come out on Saturday for the great events at the airport. The ability to be able to see a Black Hawk helicopter up close and personal, the C-130s, all the different military planes, but most importantly, just to show everybody, not just Branson proper, but everybody that knows about Branson or hears about Branson, what is our heartbeat, and it is our appreciation for our military. Today, yesterday, and tomorrow. So I hope you'll all join us at 10 a.m., 10 to 3, I believe it is, at the Branson Airport. And then, of course, our Tony Orlando's event as well at 6 o'clock. So I ain't going to miss it. I'll be tying a yellow ribbon around that old oak tree. So, and we appreciate our Tony so much as well. So thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Kathy. A few things. I was honored to once again welcome our Purple Heart recipients that visit Branson on an annual basis. I know our city really shows our appreciation for what they have done. It was mentioned during our study session. They get a fishing tournament and a lot of camaraderie with them. Tomorrow evening is the grand opening for the Disney Immersive. It's tomorrow at 5:30. That's a $6 million development. I've been through it a couple times. It really is spectacular, so everybody's welcome for that. And a big shout out needs to go to Representative Seitz and Representative Hudson. They passed it through the state where $6.2 million from the state is being applied to our 76 CID improvements. In a few short months, with a lot of help from Michael, we're going to be going out to bid. We're looking at phases 1 and 2 is going to be in the neighborhood of a $35 million development, and having this $6 million come from the state will go a long way. So when you see our representatives, tell them they're appreciated. That's all I have. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, Marshall?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.